Great, Nostalgia Critic. The entire costume party was ruined. I thought we agreed that you were going to be Darth Vader and I was going to be the shadowy puppet master Dark Overlord that controls you, just like in real life. Nostalgia Critic.
Nostalgia Critic, can you hear me?
Yes, my brother. I apologize. I passed out after I thought I heard news that there was another animated Titanic movie.
Oh, but I'm afraid in your rage we've forgotten that there is another Titanic movie, and it is your job to review it.
It can't be. I reviewed it already.
Yes.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it appears there's another feature-length ripoff of James Cameron's Titanic. I can't believe I live in a world where two of these exist. And you think that'd be bad enough. But if you can possibly comprehend this, it is actually worse than the other version. Yes, there is actually something out there worse than this.
Party time, everybody's feeling fine 'cause it's party time.
I know it's hard to believe, but this actually is more terrible than the rapping dog. So, what abomination of hell could possibly make it into the human world? Let's find out. So, strangely enough, this version also focuses on talking mice that snuck aboard the Titanic. You mean somebody actually found it necessary to rip off the rip-off? Did you even see that? You want to rip off this? Moving on. It turns out that an old sailor mouse is telling his grandkids what really happened the day the Titanic sunk.
Tragic ending to the maiden voyage of the Titanic. 100 missing. A lot of people died, huh?
The truth of the matter is that those missing persons were never really missing. It's a long and complicated story.
Really? So that's how you're starting this movie out, by saying the hundreds of people that died on the Titanic didn't really die on the Titanic.
It's all a misunderstanding. One of these days I'll tell you the whole story.
Yeah, bring it in.
All right, youngsters, you've talked me into it. I'll tell you the whole story.
Yes, please do! My curiosity for this story that involves everyone surviving one of the biggest disasters in the world is really quite fucking peaked!
It all began long ago in England.
So of course, we go into a flashback that shows Grandpa as a much younger mouse who was a sailor on the Titanic. But hey, if having a flashback isn't similar enough to that other film, what do you say we have an exact shot replica for the reveal of our leading lady?
Magnificent. Simply breathtaking.
This is Elizabeth. She's excited to be on Titanic except for one tiny little detail. She has to marry a man that she doesn't love. Yeah! Sound fucking familiar? Though to be fair, even though Billy Zane was basically a cartoony bad guy, they at least tried to make him look like a civilized gentleman. Here, they just slapped on an eye patch, an evil mustache, and anything else that would make him look like a James Bond villain. That or the boss from Harvey Birdman.
I'd rather die than marry that horrifying, disgusting old serpent.
Elizabeth, don't be impertinent. You have a position to keep up. Your stepmother and I simply want what's best for our little girl.
And if we say that the best for you is the worst for you, then it's the best for you. But at least the stuff with the cute little talking mice will be fun, right? Wrong. All these mice do throughout most of the movies talk about ship protocol. Yeah, ship protocol. Isn't that exciting?
We'll have the roll call, if you please.
Aye, aye, sir. Mr. and Mrs. Angus Wallace Bruce McMouse. Mr. and Mrs. Porrig Liam O'Rat and 2 children, Juan and Evita Raton with offspring, Jean-Luc and Francois Ratatouille, and the Mousetti family from Sicily, featuring Parmigiano, Pecorino, Gorgonzola, Provolone, Fontina, Caciocavallo, Ricotta, Mozzarella, Herr Heinrich and Frau Greta von Mauskäse with adjunct Shlomo and Becky Boydsil, and the Silva Pereira Queso family from Recife, with 2 children, Ronnie and Estrella.
Let's look lively now with the boarding procedures.
So we go up that rope, is that it?
It's a right idea, but you have to learn sailor talk. Only landlubbers call that a rope. To us, it's an hawser.
Hey, remember when we used to just sneak aboard and eat shit? Can we go back to those days? So Elizabeth comes across a group of gypsies led by Tuxedo Mask here, who tells his dog to try and get Elizabeth's attention.
Come here, boy. Good boy. What a lovely soft coat you have. There, that's better, isn't it?
You idiot! I told you to get her necklace! What kind of stupid mutt are you?
Well, you suddenly got creepy.
I'm very sorry, sir, but the animal must be kept on a leash. My good man, you happen to be addressing Don Juan Tenorio de Ariarte Gonzalez Leon.
God damn, who goes around with 6 names?
Prince of Andalusia, but Prince does not travel with animals, you imbecile!
Oh, and I have to add Prince to that too? Yeah, fuck it, I'm calling him Joe.
Now step aside and let us board.
So, even though they established the dog has no owner, the dog is still allowed on anyway. Oh, wait, after he pees on him first.
Oh, you wretched beast, I'll get you for that!
Oh, it's not like I can just go up there and get you for that. I'll just throw my hat. That'll teach you. No, it landed on the dog. I guess there's nothing else it really would have done. No, now I hate my hat. I hate my hat so much. Oh, my motivations are so confusing.
So after leaving the town of genetic clones, I'm not kidding, look! We see our villain, named Maltravers, talk about his plans as a whaler.
There's no reason whatsoever why the Duke shouldn't grant me exclusive worldwide whaling rights.
Not to mention the hand of his darling daughter. By marrying her, you'll get your mitts on all of his money.
Exposition.
You hit the nail on the head. There's nothing in the world that counts besides money and power. Everything else is simply there to be used to achieve those objectives.
I think we just saw the meeting for how this movie got greenlighted. So we get one of those phoned-in CGI shots of the ship as the captain discusses what he's gonna do for the evening.
There's only one thing worse than a party, and that's a gala evening. Mr. Craig, have me called for any problem whatsoever, and if there aren't any, make one up.
Oh, you mean like iceberg right ahead? Yes, that's a good one.
Hurry up, Ronnie, we're late.
Oh good, our mousy friends got away from the rest of the team. I guess that means there's not gonna be any more ship protocol.
Men are greedy and all too likely to cheat on construction and materials. So for the first few days, be careful how you move about.
Yeah, whatever. Sing There's No Cats in America.
But there are no cats in America, and the streets are paved with cheese.
But eventually they do get away from the group, and they see what's going on in the first class quarters.
She's as beautiful as a picture and as fiery as the fish on a Carioca. I'll see her in my dreams for the rest of my life.
I hate to be a spoil sport, but I would like to draw to your attention the fact that she's a woman and you're a mouse.
Well, there's one thing I'm not, and that's a racist.
What?
Well, there's one thing I'm not, and that's a racist.
Did we really just take a situation with 2 mice, a young woman, and somehow come out with racism? How do you do that? First of all, it's not racism as much as speciesism. Second, why is he fantasizing about a human female? Don't we have enough weird fetishes already with that crazy glove-smelling fucktard? Let's keep the oddness to a minimum. Oh god, I spoke too soon. Just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, things couldn't possibly get more fucked up, take a gander at this.
What's her name? Oh, I don't believe it. I can understand them.
You can understand us thanks to a net of magic moonbeams that caught your tears as they fell into the water. We added a little magic of our own, and voila! The spell was cast.
Pardon? Okay, am I dreaming this? I really must be dreaming this. I really can't comprehend this at all. At all. I mean, okay, we now have magic dolphins who apparently can fly because, well, how the hell else are they staying up there so long? Who can suddenly talk to her because her rainbow bright tears caused some moonbeam bullshit and now everything's coming up Dr. Doolittle. But sure, why not? Okay, you can talk to dolphins now, arguably one of the most intelligent creatures on the entire planet. So what exactly are you gonna say to them?
If I could turn into a dolphin like you, that would make me happy.
That's great, young lady, that's great. You wish you were a dolphin, that's wonderful. What the fuck am I watching?! Okay, for the sake of argument, let's say that you stayed in the theater after you saw this scene. What exactly are they gonna do with this revelation?
We're engaged in a desperate battle to save the lives of our friends, the whale. The Maltravers ships are hunting the poor things near to extinction.
I'm sorry, which story are we watching? The love story, the ship, the mice, the whales? What is the focus? You can't just throw this incredibly bizarre bullshit at us and just expect us to go along with it. I mean, it's like saying, hey, the Titanic wasn't destroyed by an iceberg, it was a evil gang of underwater sharks who are in cahoots with the evil whaler.
Hey, me and the boys are ready to go into action anytime you say, guy.
Ice, I have a message from the boss. Stay alert and don't stray too far from the ship.
Tell him we're ready to destroy anything, anytime.
I'm sorry, I need to drop something. You can't, you really, oh! I'm sorry, I can't get through this in one sitting. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna take the occasional break to look at myself in the mirror and cry. Whew. On we go. So, why can the bad guys communicate with the criminal underwater shark gang? We don't know. It's never explained. Maybe he got some of that moonbeam bullshit from a crack dealer or something. But as of now, he doesn't want them to destroy the ship just yet. He just wants them to stay close. But luckily it seems that magic also seems to work with mice, as Elizabeth can suddenly understand them now too.
You ought to face the issue squarely and tell your father and Everard what you think.
You've gotta fight!
Of course I'm going to fight. Now I know you two are on my side. We can foil Everard and help those poor whales too.
Yes, now that they're on your side, I'm sure you'll have a great case to go up against your father. Father, I know you want me to marry that man, but I've been talking with the dolphins and mice, and they agree that it's not the right thing to do. But honest to God, they did talk to me! But Elizabeth does go to set the record straight, and it turns out her father takes it unrealistically well.
I have absolutely no intention of marrying Everard. I'm sorry to upset your plans, but...
Plans, did you say? My one and only plan, dear girl, is to see you as happy as possible. And I would never dream of forcing you to do something you don't want to.
Unless it was the beginning of the movie, in which case I said you have no choice. Seriously, what did she do different? She made the same argument she did before. In fact, it's actually less angry. Are you honestly telling me that this...
I have absolutely no intention of marrying Everard.
...is much more stronger than this?
I'd rather die than marry that horrifying, disgusting old serpent.
That's just the PMS talking. You'll get over it.
I have absolutely no intention of marrying Everard.
Whoa! Calm down, bitch! Calm down! Oh! Alright, we'll figure this out, man. Jesus! But meanwhile, down this hallway, or maybe it's this hallway. Nope, I guess it's this hallway. The bad guy is looking to make sure his evil wedding schemes go according to plan. But luckily, the mice kick him with a soccer ball and send him hilariously flying down the ship. Seems kinda pointless, seeing how we already know that Elizabeth isn't going to marry him, but hell, we need something to top the dog pissing scene, don't we? Meanwhile, apparently Joe is still in this movie, as we see he spends most of his time... Oh God, get over it! God, I miss Elizabeth. Almost as much as I miss Vanessa. But it turns out the animals lead them together and they finally discover each other. And of course, they decide to dance. But, unlike the other animated Titanic movie where they shared only 3 lines of dialogue and decided they love each other, here they only share 1 line of dialogue. Yeah, 1 fucking line of dialogue and they know it's meant to be! I guess she considers sniffing the glove first base. But the whaler and evil stepmother, it turns out, are in cahoots with each other, and they want to stop them from hooking up.
I trust I've been clear enough.
If Mr. Maltravers is so important to you, then you marry him.
Actually, that's a great idea. If she's so evil, why doesn't she just leave Elizabeth's father and go with the whaler guy? Doesn't that make more sense? Whatever. It seems that boat has sailed or sank, so I guess it's better just to cut their losses and move on to the next logical step. Hold the father up at gunpoint, force him to sign the whaling concession, and tie him up so he won't escape. Tell me you wouldn't do the same thing! So he sends the message to the whalers that they're allowed to hunt wherever they please, but luckily the mice cut the wires before the message can get out. I'm sure that won't backfire in any way! But wait, with the father tied up, someone's liable to come across him. So again, what's the logical thing to do?
The ship has to sink tonight, but remember, not a second before midnight, or else all your work will have been for nothing.
Consider it done, Pally. Midnight on the dot.
That's right. It's the evil gang of sharks that sank the Titanic because of a needlessly complex whaling scheme. Aren't you glad we're simplifying the emotions of a horrendous tragedy to an insultingly basic battle of good versus evil?
After we've arranged for the iceberg to appear in front of the ship, we'll hold the rudder in our teeth, keeping her on course.
I don't even get it. Why do these Titanic movies need a bad guy? Isn't the iceberg sort of the designated villain?
Well, let's just call it a bet. A couple of my boys think they can heave an iceberg farther than tentacles can.
Oh, that sounds like great fun.
So the sharks trick a giant octopus named Tentacles into an iceberg throwing contest. There's a giant octopus with a dog's face in this movie, and they're only waiting till the last third to show it. Way to subtly wheel us into that suspension of disbelief.
Don't you realize what you've done?
I beat the sharks at ice throwing.
You threw an iceberg at a ship full of people. I don't know how many of them we'll be able to save.
Oh, no!
It's not like he can just grab the iceberg and push it out of the way. Oh wait, yes he can. Why don't you just grab the iceberg and push it out of the way? So the whaler and stepmother escape on the boat and, not to give anything away, but the iceberg hits the ship. Hey, considering how much else they changed in this movie, I'm surprised they kept that.
They're sure to send out an SOS. Maybe there's a ship near enough that can make it in time to help us.
Oh my goodness, we cut the wire!
You didn't repair it after? That's against every rule of the Sea Mouse Maritime Union!
We spent 2 hours talking about ship protocol and you didn't even follow it? A pox on you! So they try to fix the wires with the help of another mouse named Camembert. Get it? It's a cheese! But the wires won't stretch far enough, so there's only one thing to do.
I've got it! Connect the wire to my mustache!
Yeah! What? Yes, this will be an incredibly funny scene if it didn't end up killing him. No, seriously, it ends up killing him. Look.
Oh, Camembert, Camembert, what a hero.
Okay, there's a lot of moments in a Titanic movie where you're supposed to have a serious death scene. You picked one, and it's a fucking wrong one! Come on! Oh, and unlike that downer Cameron movie where there weren't enough lifeboats, this film sets the record straight.
There's room for everyone!
See? There's room for everybody. What, did you think those idiots at the History Channel knew what they were talking about? No, it's the version with the giant talking octopus that has it right. So Elizabeth and Joe find the father and set him free, allowing him to get on the lifeboat.
Thank God Daddy's safe.
Why doesn't the daughter go too? Or for that matter, why not the boyfriend? Didn't you just hear the guy before?
There's room for everyone!
So hop on board! It doesn't matter if you have testicles in this movie, you can still make it out! But don't worry, Tentacles is there to put the ship back together. That's right, he's putting the ship back together. And just in case there's any confusion for this being mistaken for a tragic act of nature...
The truth is, it's all my fault.
No, Tentacles, it's not your fault. This all happened because of an evil, greedy human being.
You heard it right there, folks! It was all because of an evil human being. The realities of life don't play here. Hey, the next time a family member dies, just tell your kid a whaler did it. It's all cool. I mean, hey, as long as you can fucking blame something!
One of my tentacles slipped. I have to go back down.
So while you're pondering why an octopus has to hold his breath to go underwater, it turns out the dolphins have good news.
The whales! The whales are here! Hooray!
seem to save everybody on the ship, even the captain. Yeah, because we all know he made it out okay. But unfortunately, Tentacles can't hold on anymore and goes down with the ship. That sucks. But we have a wedding to cut to. That's right, Elizabeth and Joe finally got married, as did Grandpa Mouse and that blonde who he only shared one line with. Seriously, do these guys ever start a dialogue? When suddenly, their attention is drawn to the river.
I have the most wonderful surprise for you!
That's right, Tentacles is alive! And look, even Camembert, with no explanation whatsoever, somehow made it out okay.
I thought you were dead.
Nope.
Tentacles is alive! Look out there in the whales! All the others are alive too!
That's right, even though there were no whales or people in that shot you just saw, apparently everybody made it out alive. Thank God this isn't the least bit insulting to the hundreds of people who tragically lost their lives, or else this could possibly be the worst thing we ever produced as a species.
Tentacles, you are a true hero. And the many people who couldn't find space in the lifeboats, you saved their lives too. Tell us how you accomplished such an amazing feat.
It was the whales who did it, really.
What is up with the whaling shit in this movie? Look, if you want to make a movie about whales, that's fine. More power to you. But leave the deaths of hundreds of innocent people out of it if you don't mind. I mean, even Ferngully just stuck to the rainforest. They didn't try to work in the Hindenburg disaster or anything.
So this Ronnie is Granny Stella's brother.
So flashback to present day as the kids realize Grandpa has clearly gone off his meds and made this entire story up.
That means nobody's hunting the whales any longer. Is that right?
Unfortunately, no, children. There'll always be another Everard Maltravers. Their names may change, but their evil lives on, and the whales are still hunted.
Oh, Christ. Shut up! I hope we nuke those fuckers so we don't get any more movies like this.
You heard, children. Enough is enough. Your grandfather loves to tell stories, but like all sailors, you shouldn't take him too serious.
Understatement of the fucking millennium.
Oh, Connors.
So just to recap, everybody, nobody died on the Titanic, animals can talk with moon magic, sharks form underwater gangs, whales are Jesus, and the reveal of a giant talking octopus in New York got absolutely no media attention whatsoever. So, to sum up... Nope, I need a minute. Okay. Can you see why this is worse than the other one? I mean, the animation is better, but this goes from stupid to disgustingly insulting. Just the idea that people took this tragedy and turned it into such a lame ploy to save the whales is mind-boggling. The Titanic story has nothing to do with whales, so why'd you make that connection? It's insulting to history, it's insulting to children's intelligence, and it's straight up insulting to the people who died. Honestly, it's sort of hard to watch, it's so horrendous. I mean, it honestly makes this film look more realistic. The film with the rapping dog is actually closer to the real story of the Titanic. That is a new low for a kids movie to sink. It's beyond shit, and my guess is it'll take days before you stop feeling unclean from it. My only hope is that people will finally learn their lesson and stop making animated spin-offs off this shit.
Well, there's one thing I'm not, and that's a racist.